Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Going to be doing some interesting stuff today, looking at doing some improvements to the Gunforge UI, mostly just enabling drag and drop of weapon parts. I've got a lot of feedback that the way of equipping different weapon parts was a little bit, let's say, awkward. And so, yeah, I think drag and dropping gun parts into your gun preview here, I guess you could say, is probably going to be an easier way. So I don't know if that's going to work out, but we're going to experiment with it, and we're going to make all the relevant code changes that go along with that. This system, because it's been reworked so much, is very messy. There's a lot of code being thrown all over the place. This screen has, if you've been following the channel for a while, this Gunforge screen has gone through like 5 major overhauls. And so there's parts of code that are new, parts of code that are ancient, and it's all just kind of like a giant mess. But we're going to do the best that we can to see how this looks. But before we get into that, I want to remind you all that if you'd like to support my work, I've got all the ways that you can do so linked in the description below. The best way to support me non-financially at the moment is to wishlist Gunforged, and also to sign up for my newsletter at firebelly.com. And if you'd like to support me financially, then I've got a couple of Udemy courses for sale, which will also teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine using either C# or GDScript. So I've got both courses linked in the description below if you'd like to check those out. And of course, you can also wait for the release of Gunforged if you'd like to purchase that when that comes out. So with all of that out of the way, let's get right into it. Hello, Retro Rin. Hello, hello. Did you rename yourself, or are you on a different channel today? Hello, Suhid. Hello, Dupa. Welcome back. Welcome back to everyone. All right, so let's get started. So I actually already did some exploratory work. Godot has a built-in drag and drop system, which is pretty interesting. Oh, I should restart these extensions, huh? It's pretty interesting. Let me see if I can pull up which files I was actually editing here. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, so we want to open this and, well, open file. There we go. Open file. Open file, open file. So let me see. Yeah, so there's like these can drop data, and then in this gun part inventory button, get drag data. So get drag data is automatically called when Godot detects that you're clicking and dragging on a node, and you could set a drag preview here, which is really interesting. And this is where you're supposed to set. So you were supposed to return a variant out of this, and that variant contains all the data that's associated with a drag and drop. And then in your, wherever you want to accept the drop, I believe that's in my assembled gun drop area here, this can drop data needs to return a bool based on whether it can accept what's currently being dropped. And then I don't really know what to do after that. I think I need to maybe override some kind of accept drop data function. I'm not exactly sure, but this is kind of what I've been sort of experimenting with and learning about. I've never used the drag and drop system, but it seems pretty straightforward. So it's a little bit messy, as I said, but we're going to address that in this stream. And we're going to see, the main goal of this stream is to see how the drag and drop feels. And then if I'm liking how it's going, then what we're going to do is we're going to polish it up, add some effects and whatnot. And then hopefully people are going to like this a lot more. So yeah. Trying to start a new channel for my project. Gotcha. Or trying to start a channel for my project. I inserted the word new into your statement when it didn't belong there. So the first thing that I want to do here is I've got this UI Forge here. I want to probably scripts data. I don't really have a UI folder here. I need a data container that can contain all the relevant drag and drop data. Let me show you what I've got first here. So I'll show you how it's working. Hello, Eric Grove Art. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you again. Who's here killing time for Path of Exile 2, which comes out in 4 hours. I know that. I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, so if I hold and drag, you can see that I've got a little bone receiver that follows my cursor. This is not configured dynamically based on what you're dragging. I just inserted a random texture to get it working. But this is kind of the idea. So, but obviously we want to change this so that you end up actually dragging the part that you're supposed to be dragging. And then the idea is that you'll drag it over onto here or onto here to swap out the gun part. And I think that's going to be nice, hopefully. So let's give it a shot. How often do your Godot projects get corrupted? Just had a whole project go belly up. That does not happen to me with any frequency. So I'm wondering if, I mean, it's certainly happened in the past, but I had more of that kind of problem when I was working in the early alpha versions of Godot 3. I haven't really seen that recently at all. And I wonder if it's because I'm just not doing something that a lot of people are doing that have corrupted project problems. So I can't really say, but again, this is why it's important. I'm sure you're doing this, but this is just for anyone watching. This is why it's important to have version control, because you can take any destructive action you want up to and including corrupting your entire project, and restoring the project to a working state is as simple as just reverting or discarding your changes. Or Indiana Jones. Yeah, I saw the Indiana Jones game is coming out. It was a project I've been working on through your C# course. Yeah, my own will definitely use version control. I see. Well, the good thing about the C# course is I had the foresight to include the project files after every lesson, which that was actually kind of fascinating because I actually wrote a script that went through each commit that I made for that project. So as I'm working on the C#, or as I'm working on my courses, I put a commit at the end of each lesson. And why I do that is, number one, so I have version control, but number two, so that if I need to go back and correct something in a lesson, let's say I record 5 more lessons and I'm like, oops, I forgot to do this thing, or I did this thing wrong. I can go back, I can just modify that commit, rewrite the history, and then it's as if nothing has happened, right? Nothing has changed. But then it also gives me the capability of downloading each commit in full as a zip and just uploading that to the course. So definitely going to do that for my future courses, because it's really helpful to students, I think, to just be able to download the code at the end of each lesson. So you can, for instance, in that case, your project got corrupted, you could just use my project files and then continue on. First time I've seen this happen. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why that happens. I wish there was a way to know like how to reproduce that, I mean. Anyway, I need to create so the thing that I'm kind of struggling with is I need a data container for this drag and drop data. So in here, this gun part inventory button, get drag data. This needs to set up, so this needs to return probably some kind of thing that extends ref counted. I'm just going to put it in here. Yeah, I think it's fine. I'll just put it in here. So I'm going to say gun part drag data.cs, public class, public partial class, gun part drag data extends ref counted. And the reason why I'm extending ref counted here, this is a C# tip for anyone interested, is that you cannot... Godot expects when you're interacting with the API, it expects in a lot of cases variants. And a variant is basically just a meta wrapper that wraps any sort of type that Godot recognizes. So a variant can wrap an object, a float, an int, all kinds of things, right? The problem is that a raw C# class is not a variant and cannot be marshaled to and from a variant by the Godot engine by default. So what you have to do is you have to extend something that can be marshaled to a variant and whatnot. And the easiest way to do that is to use ref counted. Number one, because I believe this extends object, yes, which can be a variant. Variants can contain objects. But also ref counted gives you reference counting, which means that this variant now will automatically be freed when Godot has counts no more references to this object. So you don't have to do the memory management yourself. So if I do game.ui, so I'm extending ref counted, and then in here what I can do is I can say, okay, so public gun part inventory button from, I'll just put gun part inventory button here. Gun part inventory button, I think maybe that's all I need for now. So now instead of returning this, I'll return that object. And the reason I'm returning this object is because I believe that it's just going to be semantically clearer, but also I can add more data as necessary. Okay, so there's that. This needs to change. So I need to create a gun part drag preview script. Gun part drag preview. Let's add a script to this. Game.ui. We get a reference to that node private sprite 2D. Public void set texture 2D. Okay, so now in here, in this set drag preview, I don't want to do that load there. I don't want that string. So gun part inventory button. Let's go gun part inventory button. Let's add a, excuse me. Let's add a resource preloader. Goodness. All right, so this is gun part drag preview. Put that over here. And then I can get a reference to that resource preloader now. And again, the reason I use these resource preloaders, I'm sure that there's a better use for these things, but I basically just use this as a container to contain references to the scenes that I'll be instantiating from within this scene. And the reason is because you get like, if this scene path changes here, that will be automatically updated. So it's kind of safer than using a raw string. And also I just think, again, semantically, it's very good for me as a developer to be able to see, okay, what scenes is this scene going to be instantiating? And then of course you get the benefit of the resource preloader will load the scenes and cache them before they're ready to use. So you avoid any sort of like, sort of any initial stutter to load or whatever. So in here, var gun part drag preview is equal to resource preloader dot instance scene or null gun part drag preview. And then that's already cast as a control. So I can just put that gun part drag preview there. And then gun part drag preview dot set texture is going to be this, let's see, gun part resource to texture. Okay. So I think that's going to be fine. So now I've got this gun part drag data, which I can accept in this assembled gun ingot here. Oh boy, this is going to be... Oof. Oh no, assembled gun drop area, yeah. Okay. There's going to be a lot to do here. Anyway, do you have any future courses planned? I've really gotten a lot from the ones you've released so far. I definitely want to do that in the future. My plan, my hope is that the next major one that I want to do is a multiplayer-oriented course, because there's a lack of sophisticated and complete, I would say, courses on doing multiplayer. But I want to do that after I make my multiplayer game, which is coming after Gunforged. I'm hoping that multiplayer game was only going to take 6 months, so I think, like, best case scenario is I can have a multiplayer course done by the end of next year. I know that's a long time away, especially for people that want a new course right now, but these things take time, and also I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing, and that the benefit of doing the course immediately after making the multiplayer game is I'm going to be aware of all the pitfalls, and I'm going to be aware then of everything that works and everything that doesn't. And I can also optionally include things like, you know, here's a bonus lesson on how to use the Steam networking capabilities for your lobbies and whatnot. I'm not going to promise that. I'm just saying that all that stuff being fresh in my mind, fresh learning, is going to be the time to, like, do the course, because then you'll basically just be getting a shortcut to all the headache that I have to go through figuring out how to make multiplayer work. All that work will be done for you, and you can just follow the course. Do you know how much performance gain you get by using C# versus fully type GDScript? Hello, Boyer. By the way, welcome to the stream, Old Rod KS. It's good to see you. It's not really noticeable. There are certain situations where using C# is going to have a very noticeable performance improvement, but I would not choose C# just because it generally can improve performance. C# has to be a choice that you make either because you like C# for what it gives you, or because there's a very specific part of your game that benefits from it. I've heard people having corruption issues if their data is auto-replicating to OneDrive. Oh, yeah. Well, see, the thing is that... Well... Yeah, so I have, like, a lot of my data being synced to my network-attached storage, but my GitHub repositories are not synced. So, because it's already using a different syncing mechanism. So that could be it, maybe. I want to get a NAS setup like Firebelly 2 and have the backup to the cloud. Yeah, I absolutely recommend it. Like, if you can find it in your budget and you do a lot of digital work and you create a lot of digital media, whether it's games or, you know, you do a lot of Photoshop work or design work or you produce videos, I think getting a NAS is one of the best investments you can make, because it just gives you the peace of mind that it's extremely unlikely that you're ever going to lose any of your data. Did I get my noisy roof fixed? I actually found out what was causing the noise. There's like a shingle that's flapping around in the wind. So I sent a video of it to the people that did my roof, and they said, "Oops, we'll be over as soon as the weather improves to fix it." So it's not fixed yet, but it's coming. Welcome back, Felipe. Good to see you. Godot multiplayer? Yeah, I want it. Excellent. Welcome back to the stream, Matthias. Good to see you. Shut up and take my money. Good morning, Defective. Good to see you again. I think you mentioned affixes are so much better to handle with C# due to design patterns. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Godot, like, GDScript is getting more and more powerful too. I think callables in GDScript are brilliant. I think that Lambda functions are great. I would love to see GDScript... I think GDScript is moving in the right direction with increased type support. There's all kinds of syntactic sugar being added. lots of capabilities being expanded, and the performance is being increased too. Like, I don't know if anyone's been following along, but like every version of, or all the early versions of Godot 4 contained improvements to various parts of GDScript. So I'm very optimistic about where GDScript is headed. Hello, Lone Undead, welcome back. Okay, so can drop data. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this, gd.print. So I have to do this check. I have to check that the variant type is an object first. And then I can grab the variant as an object. Whoops. And then I can do is gun part drag preview. Like so. So this gun part drag preview again, oh no. This is gun part drag data. This again is going to just be a wrapper class that extends ref counted that contains all of my relevant drag data. This should print true if I did everything correctly. And I don't need this anymore, so we're gonna get rid of that. I was originally gonna make my own drag and drop system, then I was like, wait a minute, doesn't Godot have a drag and drop system? And I think, yeah. So here we go. All right. So I should be able to drag this. We can see that we've got that receiver here, that bubble receiver. If I drop it onto one of these things, I should see an output. Oh, true. Oh, does it just print true every frame or as I move the mouse? Let's see. Oops, I'm losing track of my windows here. Here we go. Okay, yeah, so as I move the mouse, it repeatedly calls that can drop data. So I guess that's useful because that will allow me to maybe add some UI highlighting or something. But now I need to write let's do this. I'm gonna simplify this. No, I don't think I need to do that. I just need to figure out how to accept that drop data now. So let's go to the control and let's look for drop, can drop data. Is this it? Drop data. Godot calls this method to pass you the data from the get drag data result. Can drop data to test if data is allowed. Okay, yeah. So this will only be called if can drop data returns true, which means that cast. Okay, so I think what I will do is this. Private bool or private gun part drag data, get drag data from variant. And in here, I'm gonna return data question mark. Let's do data. Variant type is object, data as Godot object, as gun part drag data or null. And then what I can do in here is return get drag data not equal to null. So this get drag data is going to return null if the dragging data is not gun part drag data. And the reason I'm doing this, I don't really need to do this right now, but if I ever extend the drag and drop functionality to like the runes, which I'm expecting to do, then this is going to be really important to check. So that's fine. And then what I can do is public override void drop data at position variant to data. Now I can pretty safely say var gun part drag data is equal to get drag data. And so now what I want to do is I want to make this assembled gun rect. This is where things get really messy. Add part resource. Assembled gun rect dot add part resource. Gun part drag data dot gun part inventory button gun part resource. That's a little bit too much. I think what I'll do is I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, there's so much mess with this code here. But let's just do one thing at a time. We'll make it super minimal. Get like, it's really easy, I think, especially as like a new programmer or engineer, when you're trying to refactor something, it can be really easy to get lost in like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. But what you have to do is you just have to zone in and like get one thing done at a time. Get one very narrow thing working first, and it's like, okay, that's working. And then one narrow thing working after that, and you just keep incrementally improving. Because trying to change everything all at once is just gonna drive you insane. At least in my experience. I don't know, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but so we'll get that working. And I'm pretty confident that's gonna work, but I've been wrong many times before. So if I drag this worm receiver onto this gun, bam, look at that. So now instead of like doing this right click, left click stuff, you could just go here. I want to put that one there, put that one there. And now this also gives you the opportunity to make like some nice forging effects and whatnot too, which will really reinforce the theme. So let's put that there, that there, that there, that there. Obviously these gun parts need to be updated now with the part that was removed. And so that's the part that needs to come next. So, but that's looking good. Okay, so now I need to look at my Gunforge UI and see all this is happening. Oh, okay. So there's this equip gun part. This whole thing here needs to change. So this equip gun part is basically responsible for saying, I want to take a gun part from the grid at a certain index and equip it to the gun slot, the appropriate gun slot. So what I need to do now is, I think what I'm going to do instead is, since this UI is responsible for managing, this is where it gets tricky too, is because it would be tempting to have the assembled gun drop area do all the changes here. But I don't think that's going to be appropriate. I think what this needs to do instead is this just needs to signal that this gun part drag data has been accepted, and that needs to bubble up to the Gunforge UI, because the Gunforge UI is responsible for managing a bunch of different systems. So it's going to reach into the player and change the player's gun. It's going to update the grid. It's going to do all that. And so instead of trying to like refactor how this whole flow works, which I don't think would be appropriate anyway, because I think it is appropriate for the Gunforge UI to be the one that manages all these disparate systems and ties them together, whereas the assembled gun drop area really only needs to be minimally functional in saying, hey, I've accepted this gun part drag data, I've accepted it. And so now it's up to you to handle and respond to that. It would be nice to be able to just like change the part resource in here, but I don't think that's going to work, especially with the code that I've already written. So I need to probably just emit a signal here instead. So that's what I'm going to do. My project is fully typed with GDScript, now running assembly. Nice. What kind of UI I'm messing with today? I think I've explained that. There's a little bit of old chat. I apologize. I can't respond to chat all the time because I have to write some code. But yeah, just getting drag and drop working. I don't know if you have interest, but a 3D Godot course would be buy so fast. Yeah, I do want to get into 3D development. It's just 3D. I guess you could jokingly say that 3D is like 3 times the effort of 2D. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but I mean, it's like you have to do the 3D models, and yeah. It's a lot of work. I would love to get into it at some point, but I'm already having trouble making a 2D game because the P is silent. Adam, you're coming in with the with the what you call it, punchline. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. How's everyone's Fridays going? Mine's going well. Mine's going all right. Oof, defected. That sucks. $700 for brakes on my truck. That's life, you know. Yeah, as soon as I started like full-time indie development, I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this. Guess what? My roof started leaking. I had to replace the entire roof. So, you know, that's just life. It happens. It's, what are you gonna do? Hello, Brian F. Game's looking solid. Really enjoyed watching your VOD on the Zombie Tycoon boss mechanics. Any particular reason for choosing C# over GDScript? Thanks. Yeah, the reason, I mean, there's no objective reason. It's just I like what C# gives me in terms of structure and the applicability of programming patterns using abstract classes, interfaces, that sort of thing. It's just much more structured, which I needed particularly for this project because there's a lot of systems, and just having that type safety and that structure makes it a lot easier for me. So that's the reason. Yeah. Hopefully they'll only have to resurface them. If so, it'll only be $500. Of course, they're going to say they had to replace them, though. Yeah. Well, what do they call them? You got to not take it to the dealership, right? Try to find a local mechanic that you trust. But if it's a newer vehicle, if it's under warranty or something, you kind of have to take it to the dealership. You were to Toyota Tech for around 15 years. I was never a fan of selling people things they didn't need, like flushing fluids and all that garbage. Yeah. 2D vector art looks easier. Yeah, vector art is something that I'd be interested in. Hello, See Ya Dev. Do I stream on Twitch too? No, I wanted to do like a multi-stream from YouTube or to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, but the Twitch terms of service says you're not allowed to show chat from other platforms on your stream, which means that I would have to remove like your chat showing up in the video here, which like I guess I could do, but I like using some of this stream footage for my devlogs that I make, and it's just kind of fun to have your comments like embedded in the video so people can like pause the video and watch them. Or read them, I mean. But honestly, like I think I also just, this is just my personal opinion, I just don't like Twitch as a platform. I find it to be like really messy and chaotic, and like there's pop-ups everywhere, and it's like, and the other thing is like too, like I feel like YouTube is just a better place to archive my VODs, you know, because my audience is already all here on YouTube. I haven't really built an audience on Twitch, and you know, because I'm streaming so much, it's like I may not produce a devlog every week, but 5 days a week I'm producing a VOD. And so if you like watching me and you like watching the process of developing Gunforge, then you know you can go to the same place you usually find my work and just watch the VOD there. So you know, it's I would multicast, but you know, it's just I think YouTube is fine. I'm enjoying streaming on YouTube. Been doing web dev for about 2 years now and wanted to tackle game dev as a hobby, and I've been enjoying Godot a lot. Good, yeah, I love Godot. I guess you could say I'm a Godot evangelist. I am the high priest recommending Godot. No, it's fine. But I do love Godot. I've been using Godot for years now. Twitch has so many ads even with the upgraded accounts, yeah. Oh, it's better about stream notifications. Yes, I'm sure that is true. I look at my like YouTube sometimes takes hours to notify people of things getting uploaded or whatever. It's like, what are you doing? Good morning, Christopher. Good to see you. Okay, so I need to set up a signaling mechanism here, so let's do this. Signal public delegate void gun part drag data dropped event handler. And this is going to take an argument gun part drag data like so. And then in here, I'm just going to do this. Emit signal name dot gun part drag data dropped. Get drag data. Okay, so this is gonna be only responsible for just notifying of things being dropped. So now in my assembled gun ingot here, we've got this assembled gun drop area. I think I'm gonna make this, oh, it is public, okay. It's public, but it needs to be that, and it needs to have a private access, or a private setter, I mean. Let's make this at the top, okay. Okay, set comparison part. Right. Okay, one thing at a time here. One thing at a time here, okay. So let's go to my Gunforge UI now. Left assembled gun ingot dot assembled gun drop area dot gun part drag data dropped plus equals on gun part drag data dropped data, and then this slot index player gun manager dot gun slot dot left, and we'll do right assembled gun ingot, and then we'll change this to right. Let's go ahead and create this method all the way down here, this 600 line file, private void on gun part drag data dropped, gun part drag data data, and then the player gun slot, player gun manager dot gun slot slot. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm essentially going to say equip gun part data dot gun part inventory button dot get index slot. Okay. Okay. So hopefully that works now. So what I should see is that when I drag that over, that should accept it and call the equip method through the UI, which should change everything just fine. So now if I do this, boom, there we go. So now that's swapped. Do you see how that's swapped? So if I drag over this crystal barrel, I should see this first one swap with the bone barrel here. Okay, perfect. Okay. So the other thing that I want to do is here's a question. I thought maybe I would make, so there's a preview here that you can see when you click on these parts. I'm wondering if it would be better to I think it would be better to automatically display this preview whenever you hover over a part. So display the preview automatically when you hover over a part. As soon as you start dragging, you lock that preview so you can see which one it's going to be, how it's going to affect each one, and then you drop it and that will clear everything. I think that's what I want to do. I think that's what I want to do. That feels a lot better though. That's much, much simpler instead of using the fancy left and right click. Okay. I'm going to commit this just because this is like a good little checkpoint here. Oops, I spelled working wrong. That's all right. How do you get the draggable item to be centered to the cursor as you're dragging? So Godot automatically does that. I'm using the built-in Godot drag and drop functionality. So the way that you do that is you override get drag data on whatever thing you want to be draggable. And then when you call set drag preview, this set drag preview expects a control. And as far as I can tell, the way that it works is that it takes that control and it basically just forces that control to render at your mouse's current position. And so what you'll see is that in this gun part drag preview, this is the scene that's being created during that dragging process. And you can see how I've offset it so that it's not exactly centered. The top left corner, the origin 0, point is way up here, but then the texture is being rendered down here. And the reason for that is because that creates room for my cursor to render in this section. Since it's going to be rendered at the cursor position, but I also have a cursor visual, right? So this is just serving as an offset so that it renders correctly. Because I don't think that as far as I could tell in the documentation, there was no way to set an offset of the dragging item. So basically just had to bake that in. Also, I think I should probably set this to ignore, just in case. So now let's see if I can get the previews working. Pressed on gun part button pressed. Mouse exited. Selected part index. I am so gonna break this, but here we go. I think this is just gonna be a quick way of getting what I want. We're gonna get rid of that pressed there. Secondary press, let's get rid of this too. Oh goodness, okay. A lot of changes that need to be made here, but maybe I should still support the hotkeys for doing that, but it would be nice to clean up that tooltip as well. The variable names are getting to tongue twister territory. Yeah, I really do like using explicit and descriptive variable names, even if they end up being super long. So how do we feel about that? So I just hover over it and it tells me what the change is. And then I can drag it. I'd have to lock it as soon as I start dragging so that I can still be aware of what that stat is. So imagine that I see this. Oh, so I got all that. I start dragging. That needs to be locked in place so I can still see it. And then I can go boom. Do we like that automatic preview on hover? What do you guys think? So instead of having to manually click it, it just shows me immediately. Maybe indicate that it's a preview with a color hint. Oh, are you referring to the fact that the gun part is changing? I'm actually thinking instead of having it change the gun part on preview. So like if I do this, you see how it changes that, that receiver. I'm actually thinking about not doing that and only showing the numerical differences because that becomes confusing now. Yes, you like that? So let's see what happens if I remove like it changing the visual as well when you hover and it only changes the numbers. I think that's going to be better. Sorry, the cat was cold. He needed to be covered with his blanket. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, yeah, let's try that. Oh, there's a lot of cleanup to do. Try not to get overwhelmed. I'm like on the precipice of being overwhelmed by how much is going on here. I have to remain strong. So button, index, release focus, play, select inventory item, refresh gun previews. Oh, I see. So select part index, refresh gun previews. Here, set comparison part, set part resources. I don't think I need that anymore. I don't think I need that anymore. Set comparison part. Add part resource. Right resources. Left resources. Okay. So the way that this was working before is I'm grabbing the part resources out of the assembled gun that is in this thing here. This is an assembled gun, and that contains all of the part resources. But here what I'm doing currently is for update preview, I'm getting all of the part resources here before I then add the comparison part to it, and then I'm getting the resources again. So that actually needs to change, because now what I need to do is I don't want to change the assembled gun rect part resources actually. So what I need to do instead is I need to say right resources is equal to left resources dot to array. Right resources is equal to left resources dot select x if x. Now wait a minute. Now hold on just a second. I basically need to replace. I need to replace this. I need to iterate over the existing resources here, but replaced with the comparison part resource that's of the same type. So if this is a receiver, it needs to find the receiver in the array and replace it. I thought I could do this. x.getType is equal to comparison part resource get type. Then we're going to return comparison part resource, otherwise return x. Is that going to work? Dot to array. What does it want me to do? Oh, use collection expression. Well, that's fancy. I gotta remember to do that. Oh, the other cat needs to be buried now. Oh goodness, those creatures are so needy. All right, so comparison part, I have no clue if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try. I'm just gonna do a print in here. x.getType.toString, and then comparison part resource.getType. I think that this is gonna work, but I just want to make sure. Okay, is that all that I need to do? Set comparison part, update preview, yes. Generate stat labels, that should work just fine. Okay, all right. This might make the process more performant as well, since it's not going to be changing those visuals and whatnot. Oh, something broke. All right, it's already broken. Refresh gun previews. Oh. On gun part button press. Refresh gun previews. So it actually doesn't need to. I think I need to change this. So refresh gun previews here. I don't think that needs to be called there anymore. I still need. Ah, shoot. Shoot. So there's two things that are happening here. One, I need to initialize. So I still need these lines basically when refresh gun previews is called. But when I'm just doing a preview, I need to do this set comparison part. What if I do this? I'm going to take all this. Private void update comparison. Update part comparison, I guess. Slap that in there. Bring this here. I don't even think that's necessary. I think I can just do this. Actually, I might want to call this always, even if that part's null. I think that's what I want to do. And then in here, I can get rid of this. And get rid of this. Okay, instead of calling refresh gun preview now, in here, I'm going to call update comparisons. I have no clue if that's going to work, but let's see. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of complexity going on here, so I just have to make sure to take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Okay. Okay, so exiting. This is working great. It's not clearing the preview though, and there's some errors here. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Oh. Maybe it's just as simple as doing that. Goodness. All right, look at that. So now, instead of refreshing that entire gun preview, now let's see what happens if I do that. Sweet. So 16, 38.8, so all the stats are being updated correctly. Okay, so now we need to get those previews to be locked when I'm currently dragging something. So I think what that's going to require is this gun part drag preview. No, gun part inventory button. Get drag data. Is there a way to know when the drag is canceled, I wonder? Node notification drag end. Do I need to listen for that? So this gun part inventory button, else if what equals notification drag begin. Notification drag end. Let's create some signals for these. Public delegate void drag began event handler. Signal public delegate void drag ended event handler. Emit signal, signal name, drag began, drag ended. Now in here, in my Gunforge UI, what am I doing here? I need to rename some things in here. On gun part button pressed. On gun part button pressed. Selected part index. Where is this being used? That's not used there anymore. Okay, so this is going to turn into hovered part index instead. On gun part button. Well, let's see. On part button press, secondary pressed. Okay. I want to create a different thing here. Hovered part index equals -1. I don't know what this means. I guess I'll leave that there. Update part comparisons. On gun part button hover ended. Do I still need this hovered gun part button? Yes. Okay. Okay, let's see. So, on gun part button hovered. I think that's fine. So I need to lock it in place if dragging is happening. So that's the part that I'm missing. So let's see. Button dot drag began plus equals on gun part button drag began button drag ended. Okay, so what do I need to do with these things now? gun part inventory button. What is a delegate? That's a good question. I'm not going to explain it in the most technical way because I don't know how to do that, but a delegate is basically just it's a way of defining the shape of a function so that you can like reference that function. So if I, let's see, if I go to my gun affix manager here, so I have this delegate here, which defines a handler delegate. And this is essentially saying, I'm expecting a handler delegate to be a function that accepts a generic where the generic extends base game event, and it needs to return a Boolean. So any method that matches or any function that matches this sort of shape or this definition can be used as a delegate. And that means that you see here, I mean, maybe this is too complex of an example, but in essence, this onBullet created on this gun part affix object, it matches that shape. It has a Boolean return type. It is taking event handler arguments with a bullet creation event. This extends base game event, so that matches, that satisfies that condition. And so that means that I can use this onBullet created as a delegate. And the reason why that's important is because if I go down here, I have this getDelegate function, which allows me to fetch the delegate that I want to call on the affix. So basically, I'm able to dynamically determine which method I want to call on a gun part affix object based on various events. And so when I get that delegate here, now I've got a handler, and now I can call the handler, store it in a variable, right? And then call it as if it is its own function, because it's just pointing ultimately to whatever's returned by getDelegate, which would be one of these here. This was actually probably too complex of an example to use, but that's that's a very, very broad overview. Someone or something designated to do a task other than yourself or the original. Yeah. Is that the official dictionary definition? I get it. Thanks. You're welcome. Okay. So now I need to say, I'm going to create a new dragging part index, private int, dragging part index. Dragging part index equals button.getIndex. Oh, dragging part index equals -1. So now hovered gun part button. I'm going to do this. If dragging gun part index greater than -1, return. If dragging part index greater than -1, return. I'm going to merge these here. Okay. Dragging part. So hopefully this will just lock the preview in place. I hope. That did not work. Oh wait, is it working? Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, I need to force the drag. So there's a little bit of a problem here. Well, maybe there isn't a problem. I think what I need to do, so what's happening is that the drag actually doesn't kick in until you move the mouse a pretty significant amount. So if I start it here, that preview is correct, but then I can start dragging and hover over here before the drag actually kicks in, and now that's showing a different preview. Whereas if I do this and I start dragging, now it's fine, right? And I can see, okay, I'm going to get +2 runes if I put this over here. +1 rune if I do that over here. Okay, so that's working. But I need to fix that drag, so... On gun part button drag began. I think what I need to do is just... Ah, shoot. Oh, shoot. I can force the drag too when it's clicked. So when this gun part inventory button gets clicked, I can do this. I guess I don't have anything in there. I mean, yeah, so up here. So pressed, instead of doing this, I can just say button.force drag. Oh, do I need to... Oh, I need to include the data. So maybe I don't want to do that. I wonder if I can just... reset it. So if I go down here, on gun part drag began, I can do on gun part mouse, what is it called? On gun part button entered. I can call that here. So as if it's a mouse enter event, and then do on gun part button exited button there when the drag ends. I wonder if that's going to work or if that's just going to be weird. Oh, Godot. That did not work at all. Okay. Oh, because it's... Oh, no. I guess I can call this first. That's such a hacky solution, but I don't know. It's probably still going to be weird. So I do this. Why does it think that one's being hovered? That's weird. On gun part button drag began. I wonder if I should... Oh, man. Actually, this doesn't need to be... I wonder if I could just call this. This is so messy. Oh my goodness. You know what they say though? They say YOLO. Life happens, it means you're a human being, yeah. Hovered part index means nothing is hovered at the moment. Yes, that's correct. Welcome to the stream, Justin. Why is this not working? It's always going to that first one. Why is that happening? So drag began, on gun part button exited, on gun part button entered. Oh, you know what? Now, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Maybe this notification isn't working the way that I thought. It should be, though. I wonder if that notification is being propagated to everything and everything's registering as I've begun dragging. But I don't think that should be the case. That shouldn't be the case. If it is the case, I'm going to be very angry, but oh my gosh. That is the case. Why? 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 I'm going to remove this print though. So this drag begin notification is happening for every single one of those gun part inventory buttons, which is why it's being weird. So I need to figure out why that's happening. Notification received when a drag operation begins. So it's not a drag operation that pertains to this node. It's a drag operation that pertains to the entire tree. All nodes receive this notification, not only the dragged one. I guess I don't need to put that there. I can put this here. But now all of these are going to admit the drag ended as well. Is there a better way to target this? Drag ended. Get drag data, force drag, is drag successful? Set drag forwarding. Set drag preview, cursor drag. Scroll begin. Get drag data, get drag data. Notifications received, so that's going to happen to all nodes as well. This is not good. So I have no way of knowing really when a drag for this particular instance ended. There are a bunch of ways I can address this, and all of them suck. I mean, yeah, so this is just gonna get dragged. Why is there no way for me to know, like, this node's drag data has ended? I guess maybe it's not a node-based thing, it's just like a tree-based thing, but that's mightily unfortunate. So what happens if I do gd.print get viewport dot, what is it, drag, GUI get drag data? This is probably going to be null, isn't it? By the time this notification happens? I bet it is. Because if that's not null, then what I can do is I can say, well, is the drag data the same as the data that was generated from this node? If so, then that means that this node is responsible for the drag end. But I'm very confident that that's going to end up being null. Or empty. I guess it's just printing a bunch of empty strings. As Godot object. I still need to get home from the office. Are you stuck at the office for some reason? Or are you just, what is this in reference to? Maybe filter it by class or node type? Yeah, I can't, yeah, it's not related. The problem is it's not, the drag operation's not tied to a particular node, it looks like. Okay, so that is null, yeah. Oh boy. What am I going to do? I mean, does it make sense to say I could store it, I guess, like this? I don't really like this, but since this is a global notification, is there any situation where I could receive a notification drag end where this gun part drag data is not null, but not related to this current node? I don't think so. So I could do gun part drag data equals this, return gun part drag data, and then say if gun part drag data is not equal to null, we can emit the drag ended signal from this particular gun inventory button, and I can set the gun part drag data equal to null here. I think that's fine. I don't think it's possible to have like multiple overlapping, like asynchronous, if that's the right word, drag end notifications, because you can only drag one thing at a time, right? So I'm always guaranteed that if I set this gun part drag data on this notification, on this drag begin, I'm guaranteed that the next drag end event is going to be related to that gun part data. I think that's fine. Now this drag ended, yeah, I don't know. Let's just see if that works. Do you get drag data? Yes, yeah, I do that. That's exactly what I'm doing. Net-k. It's just getting like particulars about which node is related to the drag. Okay, so that seems to be working. Okay, so here's a little bit of a weird thing. So like, since the drag doesn't start, so I can do this. That's a little bit weird, but I don't know how I can change the drag functionality. I could make it force drag, but I don't know if I still want to support like clicking on these things. Oh, now this isn't working. So why wouldn't that be working? Because the hovered part index is probably not being reset, right? After I equip a part, it's not working, the preview. It's still got the hovered part index. Oh, I need to... Is the drag ended happening first, or is it happening after the equip? It's probably happening after the equip, right? Let's try it. gd.print equipped. Drag ended. On gun part drag ended. On gun part button exited. Dragging part index greater than 1. That shouldn't be the case. Hovered gun part button equals null. Update part comparisons. Show part tooltip -1. Oh, it's never calling that drag end. Well, now we're... So the drag ended only happens then... Does the drag ended only happens if the drop is not successful? What? That doesn't make any sense. This is so confusing. Is Godot automatically deleting my gun part drag data? Are you serious? So this notification drag end is never being fired in here, this drag ended signal. Is Godot just... What? Or is that drag end signal just never being fired if it's successful? Why would it tell me to use GUI is drag successful if it wouldn't be fired when it's successful? I wonder if Godot is deleting or resetting my gun part drag data so that it's just never... Wow. Okay, well, we're going to try something else then. Private bool was dragging. Let's see you reset this, filthy casual. Was dragging equals true. If was dragging equals false. I'd like to see you reset my Boolean, Godot. Maybe it's time for a debugger. I would, but I can't easily debug this scene. That's the problem. Because I'm just running it locally here, but the debug's configuration that I have through VS Code does not right now support debugging an individual scene. Nope, that's not working either. What in the world? All of these are false. I'm missing something. It looks like this notification drag end is not happening if the drag is successful. Maybe it's something related to this equip gun part. Let's see. Selected button, gun part index. Something's happening here. Set part options. Oh. It's recreating. Oh, I see. Okay, that's the reason. It's destroying and recreating all of the gun part buttons in this grid. So that's the reason why it's not working. So all of these buttons here get deleted and removed on this equip stage here. That probably shouldn't happen. I should probably fix that. I don't think there's really any reason that I need to do that. I don't think I need to do that at all. Let's see. Refresh affix inventory. Oh, I don't think I need to do this, but the problem is it needs to be initialized. And it needs to dynamically resize if this changes. Refresh affix inventory. Update part upgrade indicators, refresh affix inventory. Refresh gun preview. This is weird. So I basically need this chunk of code to happen when the dragging ends, because that resets a bunch of things. The problem is that's not being reset because the relevant node is being freed during this equip stage, and this happens first. So I end up with a bad state. So I could just copy and paste this stuff, put it in the equip gun part and call it good, but that's kind of iffy. The other thing is I could avoid recreating that entire grid every time I change one part. The problem is then I need to copy paste this. Where is this being called? And this is being called from outside of the class. So what I need to happen is, oh my gosh, I told you this code was a mess. Why did I do this? Why did I do this? Yeah, I think that's what I thought it was doing, NOS syndrome, but I figured it out. Do you have any accepted events getting in the way? No. Yeah, you are smart. My trick for this is to have a few of them created and hide what is not needed, and just remove the signals and add the signals again to tune changes. Good morning, by the way. I love chilling in here while I work. Yeah, good morning to you. I know your pain. You most have data and UI separated. Yeah. Yeah, it's just this, like I said, this code is ancient. It's got ancient parts and it's got new parts, and it's just creating an amalgamation of like just a Frankenstein's monster. I probably should just fix the fact that this is being recreated every time. I should probably just fix that. Okay. So this equip gun part here. Old index, new list, old index. Selected button. Why can't I just do this? Removed part. We'll just duplicate it, I guess. Don't need this. Don't need that. And then put all my refresh code down here. All right. That's going to also help with performance, I guess, but let's see if that works. I've got a lot of code duplication now, which is making me uneasy. Time to refactor. I don't want to refactor. Do you have any experience with GDScript and VS Code? I do, yeah. I remember it working pretty well, actually. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, I didn't have any problems with it. Didn't see anyone use it. Yeah, I mean, I liked when I used VS Code with it because VS Code just has much better like find and replace tools than the built-in Godot editor does. So yeah. I'm just making sure that all these numbers are going back the way they were. There's a little flicker that happens because of this. Oh, I can still hover over these when I'm dragging too, so I need to fix that. I think this is working though. These secondary pressed buttons don't work anymore, which is fine. I don't know, should I still support those hotkeys? Or should I just do drag and drop? I don't think it would be too difficult to support the hotkeys. The rune extraction still works. This still all works. What does re-rolling do? Okay, that does reset everything. Okay. That's fine. The re-roll can reset everything. It's mostly just that the drag can't be resetting everything. Yeah, I wish I could start that drag earlier. But I think it's probably fine. Yeah, I think that's looking all right. I need to stop the ability of hovering over those things. I still have a lot of work to do here. Oh my goodness. Don't need this print anymore. Don't need that anymore. Let's move that down just for grouping purposes. I don't need this drag ended anymore. Update part comparisons. Okay. So let's see what happens if I end my drag early now. I guess I'll try because I hate coding in the Godot editor. Yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired, doesn't it? Autocomplete works better. It might. I don't remember anything about that. Using NeoVim to code in GDScript and C++, a lot more functionality. Yep. Yeah, Godot, yeah, the autocomplete does seem a little bit iffy in the Godot editor in a lot of cases. Okay, there's one other thing that I want to change here, which is the... generate stat labels. I don't want this. I don't want to have that slash anymore in there. It just looks weird. So it'll just list the total number of rune slots rather than the number used. There we go. That looks better. All right, maybe let's see how this feels in game, and then we'll make a judgment on that. I think it's feeling better. I just need to hammer out some of the remaining bugs and UX issues. This gun is so inaccurate. Oh my goodness. I also need to change the gun part unlock screen to work with that new system. Oh, I can't drag those runes. Okay. Nice. Now, it would be nice to be able to grab these individual gun parts from here and drag them over. So drag it over from gun to gun, but we'll worry about that later. I'm playtesting a game for game dev for a dev working in Godot, and that's what he told me he's using. Oh, interesting. Big problem I'm having while playing Gunforge is that my mouse constantly ends up on my second screen. Should be able to lock it to the game window. Yeah, I can probably do that. Yeah, I should be able to do that, no problem. That is feeling very nice. Just being able to drag and drop the parts over. Controller inputs needed though. That was my biggest feedback. Yeah, I'm not implementing controller. It's not, unless the game is like really popular and people are clamoring for it, then I'll think about it, but it's just way too much effort. Max health to 1, let's go. Oh, let's take another beefy, why not? I'm gonna be so slow. Cause like this UI, like how in the world would I even get this to work with controller? Like you've got scroll bars here, and now I've got drag and dropping. I mean, I have to make it like so you could select each one and then like press a button. It's just, there's just so much to consider. I'm so slow. It's fine. Don't mind me just walking real slow. Here, I'll get some of my movement speed back. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Woo, I made it. I guess what I was thinking was that mainly the action portions of the game, but yeah, you're right about the UI. Problem is, if you want it promoted for deck, then controller support is almost a must. Yeah, that was that was also a consideration. Like, this would be a good Steam Deck game, but it's just, yeah, it's a lot of effort to do it. Like I said, if the game is really successful, you know, if it sells thousands upon thousands of copies and people are like, we really want to be able to play this on our deck, then I will definitely spend the time adding the controller support. But, you know, it's like, it's too risky because it's going to take a long time. It's going to be hard to implement right. And if the game ends up not selling well, then that effort is basically going to be wasted. So, and the other games that I'm thinking about, especially like Tiny Rogues, which was a huge influence for this game, that game Tiny Rogues didn't have controller support for a long time either, and it sold really well before it had controller support. So I'm going to kind of follow that model, is like, get the game looking good, feeling good, playing good with mouse and keyboard, and then if it sells well based on that, then I can go ahead and add the controller support later. %, Steam Deck game coded, yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Let's take Berserk. Ooh, there we go. Knockback is increased by 100%, don't mind me. I'll go ahead and take that. I only started playing it when I when it got controller support, to be fair. Oh, tiny rogues? Yeah, I almost never play games with the controller. The only games that I play with the controller really are like the Souls games. But otherwise, it's mouse and keyboard. Which gun has the knockback? Oh, this one does. The lightning one. Let's do Be the Fuse. Big DPS increase. Okay. Oh my gosh. Killing enemies left and right with this gun. Get away from me. Glancing at Godot docs has some support for focus control nodes with the controller. You take down to rig up which nodes are neighboring each other. Yes. But then it's not just that. It's like I got to change how the part preview works, and I guess I already have support for buttons to like equip to various guns. Yeah, there's just a lot of UIs like this. I mean, you've got a scroll bar here, and then you've got scroll bars here. Like, how does that work on a controller? I could do the lazy thing and just have the controller bring up a cursor in the menus, but that feels bad. Get away from me! Oh my gosh. I need to make it to the boss. Give me this. Oof. I should not have taken 2 stacks of beefy. I should not have taken 2 stacks of beefy. There we go. All right. Do I have blood? Yeah, I've got bleed. Okay. I've got bleed. Ooh, I've got lots of bleed. Look at this. Blood torrent, nice. The common thing I've seen with nested scrolls is left stick Y is outer and right stick Y is inner. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oops. Go, blood brothers. Oh, I'm not doing so hot. Oof. Okay, boss time. Let's take that one. All right, here we go, boss. I did it. Nice. All right, cool. All right, so the drag and drop is feeling good. I like it. I think it's got a lot more work to do, obviously, but I think that's feeling much more natural, and I can add some effects and whatnot to, you know, to really highlight the fact that you can drag things over here when you've grabbed something. And I'm gonna add drag and drop for these runes as well, because right now you can't drag and drop, it's just this. So a lot of work to do, more UI work always to do, but you know, that's how it goes. Cool, so that's gonna be it for the stream today though. Thank you all for watching. It was a lot of fun. As usual, I love having you all here. Oh, this is wrong. I'm gonna have to figure out why this is not working. The affix ends up being null. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with that, but not is inside tree. Okay, well, there's another bug for me. Always something to do. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I will be streaming again on Monday. I might do a sneaky weekend stream, but that's not like when I typically stream, so. And again, for anyone watching right now or anyone watching the VOD, all the ways that you can support me are in the description below. So if you'd like to financially support me, you can purchase one of my courses where I teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. You could also wishlist Gunforged and play the demo and leave me your feedback. And you can sign up for my email newsletter at firebelly.com, where I send weekly little mini blog updates. So yeah, thanks again everyone for being here. It was great to hang out, and I hope you all have a good weekend. I will see you on Monday.